Good morning. Good morning. It is morning in the Northeast. Whatever time you're watching this, I thank you guys for supporting me. Let's get right into it. We going through Genesis. We're gonna start with Genesis. Again, I want to let you guys know that the reason why we use this Bible is to empower you in self. The reason is not to debate other people with the Bible or how much you know about the Bible, how much you know more about the Bible than anybody else. This is not the purpose of the Bible. The purpose of the Bible is not to worship it as if it is an idol, like a lot of people do. The purpose of the Bible is to structure a mindset around the rituals and ceremonies and cultivate a culture that will support a good lifestyle for you, a productive lifestyle, a lifestyle that conjoins you with the Most High. That is the reason for it. So let's go back. Let's go back to a couple of things. All right. Now, we've established that this Bible can be used in a way to control people. I've established that. So, first of all, slavery started. The transatlantic slave trade, it started in the 15th and 16th century. When I say century, I'm talking about, the 1500s, the 1600s, okay? Now, the Bible was written in 1611. That is, the KJV or King James Version of the Bible was published in 1611. Now, understand in 1611, this is when it was translated. There was a Bible before then, the Gutenberg Bible, and the first Bible was the Tanakh. The next one was the Septuagint. Then we have the Latin Vulgate, the Wycliffe, Tyndale, Coverdale, Matthew, the Great Bible, the Geneva Bishops, the Douay-Rheims, and finally the King James Version of the Bible, which was translated into English in 1611. Now, this Bible was very incomplete because the translations had a lot of mistakes in them. So, that being said, these are the reasons why the Bible is so difficult to read. And these are the reasons why you should take your time in reading it. I think that you should take around a year to go through each Bible. I'm saying, instead of saying Bible, the Bible is in two parts. You have the Old Testament, you have the New Testament. I think it should take you a year to get through the Old Testament and a year to get through the New Testament. Just reading it over and over and over so it can settle into you and so you can understand. Now, like I said, the purpose of the Bible is not to argue with people over the Bible and try to know as much about the Bible as you possibly can. The purpose of the Bible is to enrich and empower your own life so that you can have a lineage of people in your own family that will follow this, and you'll be able to walk upright and create a community around your beliefs, your belief systems, and your culture of beliefs. So let's get started. First thing I want to explain is who God is and what God is. God is a masculine form. He is in a masculine form because masculinity is the first form of creation. He created Adam first. The man is the stronger of the two. The man is supposedly the leader. I say supposedly because in this world we live now, they like to the culture is to be equal in everything. But this is not the way the Bible is written. So, He is a masculine figure. He is also very malevolent, merciful, but he is also extremely vicious when it comes to his wrath. You do not want to bring the Most High to anger, because he is known to curse whole families. Everybody always says that God is love, which he is. And if you know anything about love, love can be very vicious also. It's duality to everything. There's never any just one way of doing things. That's another thing about this Bible. The Bible is written in duality. They say in the occult readings, as is above, so is below. The thing about the occult is it's always an inversion of the truth. So what they're saying is exactly right. There's always a beginning to the end. There's always a in to an out. There is always an up to a down when it comes to creation. Now, God is called the Elohim. Now, I heard a lot of people say the Elohim is it is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I've heard some people say that it is the God and his angels. It is basically his court. All of the a lot of the angels start off with L in the front of their name. The Jews and the Hebrews, they speak of El as the creator God, Saturn El. That's the reason why they wear black all the time. But I'm just going to tell you what I believe that Elohim is. Elohim is God being everything. God, it's a plural. Elohim is a plural. God is everything within himself. He is the creator. He is the angels. He is the knowledge of good and evil. He is everything in once. Now, that cannot be understood by a human being. It can't be understood by a human being. A human being is only is a minor God. God did, in my opinion, make human beings in the image of God. That's not my opinion. That's what it says in the Bible. But in the image of God means that he has made us gods upon this earth. He has also created the evil one as a god upon this earth. Evil is a god in itself. The deity of evil is Satan, the serpent, the dragon. The dragon is, an abomination because he cursed the serpent to the ground, and dragons obviously have wings. So that's an abomination. I digress. So God is omnipotent and omnipresent, which is another thing that's totally unfathomable for a human being. Now the word omnipotent. Omnipotent is an adjective that means having unlimited power, complete authority, or the ability to do anything. Now, that is what I mean by Elohim. That is another form of Elohim, being everything. So he's also omnipresent. Obviously, omnipresent is being present everywhere at the same time. Now, that, like I said, that's totally unfathomable to a human being. So, back to what I was saying initially, is that the Bible can be used and was used against the slaves as a tool of control. Like I said, the Bible was written in 1611. King James died in 1625, a very, very short time after the Bible was actually commissioned. Well, that version of the Bible was actually commissioned. So, and we went over King James and we showed how he was living at a very, very volatile time, a very violent time in which the Scotland and England became Britain and they united the crown. Now King James, I'm sorry for stuttering. King James' mom was Elizabeth the first. Elizabeth the second came after him. So his mom sanctioned slavery as chattel slavery, meaning that the slaves did not have souls, so they could be enslaved and imported just like an animal. So he used Christianity to as a way of going to these African places, along with everywhere that the crown would go, including the New World, which would be Southern America and Northern America, and everywhere that was not following Christianity. Every people that were not following Christianity were chattel, and they were basically, I don't want to say they were demons, but their soul was damned because they were worshiping the wrong God. So she was the Vatican Church said that she was okay in doing God's work. Okay, so now they began to change the view of what this God was into them being God and the crown being worshipped, and the Vatican Church became the extension of God. The Pope became God himself. So this is why I was saying it could be used as control. The reason why I keep going over this is because they're still using it to this day for this reason. So when you go to church, the culture of the church is to get you to follow the crown. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but if your church has stained glass windows, then it is, how should I say, it's being paid by the Vatican Church. It's called the Cross and the Crown, or the charismatic movement. This is the reason why, they can't, there's certain things they can't say, there's certain things they can say. And this is the reason why, this is in my opinion, I want to say this, in my opinion, this is how the church began to become desecrated. So let's start to begin. So we got, let me get this beautiful Bible my mom got me, and let's start from the beginning. Okay, so we got Genesis 1. See here, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. All right, so we're at Genesis 1:1, the creation. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, let's sit right there for a second. Now, again, God is Elohim, the I am. And the I am at the end of the word is plural. The singular form Eloah is at the front of the word. So we got Elohim, Elohim. Now I'm reading this from the concordance in the study Bible that I have. So we have here the singular form of Eloah is found in Job. The Bible uses Elohim in the plural for the many pagan gods, as well as for the Bible, the one true God. For the one true God, the plural indicates that he summed up within himself the completance of all that is God, all that is divine. That is the interpretation of the Bible, of God, that I adhere to. The completeness of God within himself. That's the way I understand it. So, again, I want to reiterate that this is the way I believe. I'm not trying to bend your will into believing what I believe. You can read the Bible for yourself and you interpret what it means to you. Like I said, in the pagan beliefs, the Elohim are the gods. It's another way of saying the gods. I don't believe in the gods, nor do I believe in the Trinity. What I do believe is God is within himself as all. I am that I am. Now, let's go back and we'll start from 1 and we'll continue all the way down to 6. Okay? The creation. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from above from the waters below." Again, some versions of the Bible say the waters from the waters. Like I said, each Bible interpretation is a little bit different. This is the first time I'm reading this Bible, and that sounds a little strange to me. But that's how it is when you read the Bible. So understand, when you read your Bible, it may say something a little bit different than my Bible. And I explained to you guys why that happened. So now let's go back. In the beginning, have you guys ever wondered why it says not at the beginning? It says in the beginning. Now, I believe the reason why it says in the beginning is because we are within the creation. It's not speaking about the beginning of creation, because there, in my interpretation, was creation before that. I believe that he created things before that. So in the beginning means we are within what he is doing at this point. Then it says God created the heaven and the earth. Now, I believe that those heavens are not the heaven or God's abode. I believe that heaven has to do with the earth. So the heaven and the earth are one. Because then when we go all the way down to verse 6, he has a firmament that separates those. Now, let's talk about the next chapter, chapter 2. And the earth was without form and void. Now, that is the chaos of creation, meaning that it is the void, it is the emptiness of, it is space. Now, within space, you have to have a point of creation. That point of creation is in the beginning. Okay? So now, and the earth was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. Now, the deep is different than the waters. The deep, I believe, signifies death. The waters signify life. Okay? So we have the darkness was upon the water. Darkness is also evil is upon the deep. I'm sorry, the darkness was upon the face of the deep, which means that evil and death are one, and the waters and God are one. Life and light, the light of God, are one. In my interpretation of the Bible, again, I want you guys to interpret this Bible for what you see it as, not for what I see it as. And God said, "Let there be light." He was speaking over the deep and the darkness. He was speaking over that into the waters, which the waters signify life. Another way of looking at it is when you look at the face of water, you're looking at it from a plane, and you're looking at it at the sea, and there's a really windy and turbulent conditions. The chaos of the waters is what he's talking about. If you're talking quantum physics, that's when they start to talk about the different dimensional planes of creation, of the way they interpret creation. That's how they look at it through their lens, is there are different dimensional planes upon the water. So within life, there is life, and that is chaotic. Now, when God says, "Let there be light," he takes that chaos and controls it. He puts it to a point. So now, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. He spoke life into existence. He spoke light into existence. Now, God is the only thing that can create anything. Not even Satan can create anything. That's what separates him from the other gods, which is a man, a woman, and Satan upon the earth. The three of us cannot create anything. We can recreate things that God already created, but God is the only one that can create anything. Now, I hear a lot of spiritualists and so-called white witches and even dark witches talking about they can manifest things into existence. This is not true. That is not an ability that God has given us. That's a trick from Satan, that you can be like God. You cannot manifest things into existence. Now, that being said, I don't believe that things are predetermined either, because even with the prophets, the prophecies can be changed. Now, once God says it's going to be, it's going to be. That's it. Once he sends a prophet and the prophet says what God said, it will be. But a prophecy can be altered. You can make different decisions and change the course of events. I heard a lot of people say that, if God was real, I learned a lot from atheists, by the way. But if God was real, then why would he allow all of these things to happen? It's the same reason why if you put water into a vessel, the water is going to do what it does. Okay? If you put water into a tub, if you put hot water into a tub of water, eventually that water will turn cold. Eventually that water will become putrid. Eventually that water is going to change on its own. Once you put something into existence, it exists. Okay, so he's given human beings free will to exist, and he's also created time to exist. This is the void. This is the deep. He created time to exist without him controlling time. So when he gave humans dominion over the earth, he gave humans the dominion over themselves also. You can choose to go with God. You can choose to be your own God, or you can choose to make your woman God, or you can choose to make Satan God. It's your choice. God is not making you choose those things. Once you choose those things, that we'll see as we're starting to go through these things, you are responsible for your own decisions. This is outside of God. So I know this gets a little bit kind of hard to understand, but God did not make robots to do whatever he programmed them to do. This is not an AI program. Even when you put it up, that's a great way to think about it. When you start an AI program, and when they put the AI program out, which is artificial intelligence, and they taught the AI to play chess, once at first the AI was losing, and then it learned how to win, and then it learned how to master the game. Then once it had autonomous intelligence, it began to learn and do other things. Now it is at a point of being out of control. If you guys do your research, you'll see that just like in the Terminator, when the computers took over the world, we are in that situation right now. So I digress. Let's stay focused. So we explained what the waters were. We explained what the deep was. And we explained what darkness and light was. So, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. Again, this is a book of duality. I want you guys to stay focused on these things, because all of these things will continue to repeat during the Bible. God will continue to divide things. He will continue to have mercy, and he will continue to have judgment. Okay, so now, and God called the light day, and he called the darkness night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, that goes to show that the day starts with let there be light. Because I hear a lot of people that say the Sabbath starts in the evening because of this interpretation. In my interpretation, there again, I don't want you guys to go my way. I want you guys to study the Bible and go your way. And my interpretation of this is that God said, let there be light. So we'll think Sunday, okay? Sunday is the time of lux. Let there be light. In the evening, meaning after the sun goes down, and okay, so what it says here, and God said, let there be light. In the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So you have the evening until the morning, which is 12 o'clock in the morning, and then that started the first day. So he said, let there be light. Then there was evening, then there was morning, and then the second day started. That's important because a lot of people don't believe that. That's what I believe, and you guys could measure that interpretation. In the comment box, let me know if you think anything I'm saying is wrong, and we'll go through this together. Like I said, I can be wrong. I don't believe that I'm wrong because I've gone over this a bunch of times, but I'm definitely open to other people's way of thinking. So let's go back to the concordance of the Bible, because my Bible has a concordance. Here is emphatic and draws attention to the fact that of a real beginning. Other ancient religions, when speaking of creation, indicate that it came about out of something that was already there. They see history as
occurring forever in cycles. The Bible looks at history in a linear way with a God-given goal. God had a plan in creation, and he will carry it out. For comments on God and his role as a creator, see article of creation, part 6. Several indications flow from the truth contained in the first verse of the Bible. Is the source of all that exists. Human beings and nature are not self-existent, but owe their beginnings and continuance to him. All existence and life is good if it is related rightly to God and dependent upon him. All life and creation can be eternally meaningful and purposeful. God has sovereign rights over all creation by virtue of being its creator. In a fallen world, he lays claim to those rights through redemption. All right, now this explains chapter 1, verse 2. Earth without form and void. This verse describes both the process God used in creation and the role of the Holy Spirit in creation. Chapter 1, verse 3. Let there be light. The Hebrew word for light is, or referring to, the eternal wave of light, energy coming upon the earth. Later, God placed lights in the earth, literally light bearers. So, back to what I was saying. Now, this is all from my Bible's concordance, okay? I just want you guys to understand that. I was reading from my Bible's concordance. So, in my interpretation of that is God is the creator. He has the sovereign right over all creation because he is the creator. Okay? The earth being without form, like it says, the verse describes both the process of God that God used in creation and the role as the Holy Spirit in creation. So he is the spirit upon the void. Back to Elohim. He is the Holy Spirit. He is within himself. He is the space that fills the void. Then we go back to verse 3. Let there be light. The Hebrew word for light is referring to the initial light wave. So that is time. Okay? A light wave is measured in time. So this is the beginning of time upon the earth. Later, he talks about placing the lights to illuminate. These are the light bearers. Chapter 7. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. Day 1, God said, let there be light. And he separated the day from the light. So he created the first day. He created time in the first day within the void. Day 2, he created the firmament that separated the waters from above from the waters below. Now, the word firmament is described as an expanse or vaulted dome structure. So that eliminates it being the Van Allen belt, because the Van Allen belt is not a solid structure. The Van Allen belt is, as a matter of fact, instead of me just trying to describe it on my own, let's look it up. According to Wikipedia, the Van Allen belts are two invisible donut-shaped rings of highly energetically charged protons and electrons that encircle the Earth. They are trapped by our planet's magnetic field, which act as a shield to deflect harmful solar cosmic radiation from bombarding the earth's surface. So that cannot be the Van Allen belt. It cannot be that, because it is not what the description is for a firmament. It can't be it has to be a solid structure that is over the earth. Okay? So it's clear that in the Bible there is a firmament. So why would the Bible create something that does not exist? Everything else that we described it in the first thing of creation is absolutely real. Time is real. The lights inside of the heaven are real. Everything else is real. So why wouldn't this firmament be real? Why would it be quoted? Okay, so now let's move on to what are the waters above. I think we all know what the waters below are. The waters that are on earth. He gathered them together, they become seas. So what are the waters above? Obviously, they're talking about above the firmament, there is a body of water that the firmament is holding back. We'll see when we talk about the flood. He says he opens the gates or the windows of heaven, and the waters came pouring through. Okay, so this is a whole different idea of what this heliocentric version of creation is. I'll talk about the heliocentric. Maybe that'll be another video. If you guys want me to explain what this heliocentric version of creation is, with the Big Bang Theory and all of that, please comment and let me know that you guys are really interested in that video. That video is a whole nother ball game that I'm going to have to go down. So if you guys believe in Darwinism, you guys believe in the Big Bang Theory, and that we're spinning on this ball through a void of outer space and this thing we call gravity and all this other stuff that is absolutely pseudoscience and cannot be proven, then you guys let me know what this is. So when we talk about Plain Planet, is which I called my clothing brand, I was speaking of it in a way that says, that is my way of saying that I believe in the Bible. I follow God. I follow what I believe is a prophetic book. Okay, now somebody like Marquette would say, now I talked about Marquette in one of my other videos, which I respect that young man immensely, but his version of understanding is that everything in this Bible is lunacy. It's made up. I understand why he wouldn't trust this Bible, because of what I talked about in the King James, with King James, and how the Bible is used to control. That's why I keep going over all of this stuff that I talked about control, and I talked about slavery. I'm explaining these things because these things will stop you from trusting the Bible. Okay? And we have done a lot of learning, and we've gone through a lot of indoctrination about what we believe the world is, and how it, how we interact with the world. We've been indoctrinated with a lot of these things. This is the misdirection of the human race. And you guys wonder why would they do all of this? Why would they recreate the map so that Europe is on the top? Why would they say that we're on a big spinning ball and none of this stuff is all true? Because these people are psychopaths. I said it once before and I say it again. Their level of fear and for their survival, their survival instinct takes over in a way, and it causes such a level of cognitive dissonance that they have to create a whole nother reality in which is safe for them to live in. Darwin said, I would rather be a monkey's uncle. That goes back to him understanding that Lucy, the first known fossil of a human being a female in Africa was a negroid woman. Now, I'm not using the word negroid in a detrimental way. This is the way they describe, the black people of the world. This is where they distinguish them from the Europeans. So Darwin found this out and said that I would rather be a monkey's uncle, and develop this whole Darwinism thing that we come from apes. You understand? This is the level of cognitive dissonance that these people have. So they would create a whole nother pseudoscience behind that they call heliocentrism, that go against all the learnings that they learned in the Bible. And the reason why they done all of this is because of something else that I will get through later. I don't want to start distracting you guys on why they manipulated this Bible. I'll get into that later. But let's move on. Remember that the new heaven is now the firmament. That is the firmament that separates the waters. We're at chapter 9. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together in one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw it was good. I apologize, you guys, because this Bible is just a little bit different. And because I've gone over a different Bible so many times, it kind of gets a little weird for me. So we're at chapter 11. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit, after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. Chapter 12. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and the herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made two great lights, one greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Okay, so now this verse says what exactly the sun and the moon are for. It says that light is different from the light that he gives. The light that he gives is time and the existence of that creation. The light that is inside the firmament, which was in a part of the earth, is to separate the light from the day. Like I said, there will always be duality in creation. There will always be a light to a dark. There will always be a good to an evil. This is the reason why everybody says, why did he let Satan exist? Satan has to exist for existence. He is the choice. Satan is the deity of evil, the choice to do other than what God wants you to do. It is the choice between the two trees. You guys are going to start seeing this duality. It also states, which is kind of hard to understand, that these lights are set within the firmament. That's not something that we were all taught. We were taught that the sun is the center of the so-called universe. The planets revolve around the sun. We're all gravitated, I guess would be the right word, to the sun because of the mass of the sun. It's like being on a huge trampoline, which they call the time-space continuum, and a bowling ball is dropped on this trampoline, causing everything to flow into this ball, which we call the sun. And there is this imaginary force that attracts us to this ball and keeps us without falling directly into the ball. So it keeps us away from the ball we call the sun, and it keeps us attracted to the ball. Now, because everything spins in a spinning cycle, we're spinning, and we're spinning around the sun along with everything else in the universe, including all of the planets. But everything is staying perfectly in sync. Everything is staying perfectly balanced, and nothing is making this force move where we're moving towards the sun too much or we're moving away from the sun too much, along with all the rest of the sun, the moon, of the luminaries of the planets and all of their moons that go around them. We're all spinning except for our moons. Our moons are not spinning. They're just moving around us, and we're spinning, and the sun is not spinning. And all of this, we're moving through our whole thing we call the Milky Way, which contains all of this stuff, is moving through some other kind of void. And within all of this, we have dimensions, and we have this, and we have that. It is absolute lunacy. If you guys don't see that this is totally made up. Now, you got somebody like Neil deGrasse that he'll say that I'm an idiot for believing the Bible. I'm a total idiot because I'm supposed to believe this so-called heliocentric version of pseudoscience that he believes, along with a big bang that just happened out of nowhere and put all of this stuff into existence and had the intelligence to keep everything totally balanced and create life within all of that. I'm a fool for not believing him, and I'm also insane for actually believing that this thing that we have called the Bible exists. So I'm not telling you guys to believe me. I'm just telling you guys, it's easier for me to believe this that's in the Bible exactly the way that it says than for me to believe their pseudoscience. I can't prove either. Can you really prove that the earth is round? You have to believe it. You don't have the tools that it takes to believe it. You don't have the time to observe it. And you don't have the understanding of everything else to make it all true. You don't have the examples. It's all of this stuff. You have to believe it. And because we're so indoctrined, we think that we know. And this is what causes cognitive dissonance. Because once you've been indoctrined with this misdirection and you believe it from your birth, it becomes ingrained in you, a story that you continually tell yourself over and over and over and over. And then when you're introduced with some new information, it causes you pain. So you will do everything in your power to say that it's not true. It's just like Penn from Penn and Teller was saying. Even though you see the trick is not true, your subconscious mind will make it true. You understand? So you will believe this pseudoscience. Everything in your being is telling you that we are not moving. But they'll tell you, we're moving, we're spinning at they know exactly how far the sun is. They know exactly how fast the speed of light is going. This is craziness. But there again, you guys are a lot of you guys are going to call me crazy for actually believing the Bible. This part of creation is important because this is what's going to take your mind back. So we'll just say, for instance, we'll just say that none of this is true and everything that they're saying is true. And you believe what's in the Bible. How will that hurt you? It's easier to believe that God is in control of everything than for you to believe that you understand everything that God created. Not unless you don't believe in God. If you don't believe in God, you're totally lost. I don't see how these atheists don't believe in God. That's got to be the most miserable thing in the world, to not believe in God. It causes fear. It causes the feeling of insecurity. It causes loneliness. It causes you to be greedy and to, be in the survival mode inside your mind. It's much easier to believe that God created a firmament over the earth to protect you from everything. He is in control of everything. He is just over the firmament. The earth is his footstool, and he watches upon everything. He communicates to those that follow him. It's just much easier to believe and understand. Let's continue. Chapter 20. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly moving creatures that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the firmament of the heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and let the fowls multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creatures after his kind, cattle and creeping things, and the beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let us maketh man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image he him, male and female, created he them. And God blessed them. And God said upon them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of the tree, yielding seed to you, it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all of the host of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested upon the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sacrificed it, because that in it he rested from all his work which God created and made. We're going to end this video here. This was a big video for me because reading the Bible is extremely difficult to get through. It's hard for me to kind of read it out loud. Even when I read it to myself, I kind of have to read it over and over again because of the wording and the cadence of the words and everything else that comes with it. It's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of practice, and usually I listen to the Bible instead of actually reading it because it's so difficult. So, you guys, please forgive me for reading so choppy. I'm doing the best I can. I should get better with this as I go. That's why most ministers have readers, because, it's a talent to be able to read out loud, and that talent I'm still working on. I don't really think I possess it. That being said, that was a lot to digest. We're going to pick up on the Adam and Eve story, which this will really start to get to be the meat and potatoes of Genesis. This is probably the most important part of Genesis, this next part. I will start the next video on the end of the creation, and then I'll go into the fall. So, the beginning of that one will be the end of this creation story, starting around verse 9. I keep saying chapter, I mean verse 9. You have chapter and then you have verse. We are in the first chapter, which is Genesis. I'll start the next one with verse 9, and we will go on to the fall. You guys have a great day. First of all, thank you guys if you made it through this whole video. This is a very tough video to make. Reading the Bible is not easy. Again, I congratulate you guys for doing what you're doing. I hope that God is leading me and doing the right thing. I hope that he blesses. The inspiration behind Plain Planet is not just some flat earth conspiracy theory. It's the idea that your vision in life belongs to you. You don't have to believe something that you've learned in school. You don't have to believe something that science tells you is true. You can believe what you want to believe. You could be who you want to be. This is the essence of Plain Planet. Plain Planet is a clothing line. It's a Christian clothing line on top of it that you can actually wear and be proud of. This ain't churchy or Bible thumping. This is a quality streetwear brand. This is Plain Planet. Clothing you believe in.